All right, so we are going to work on this classwork today together. You guys are going. It's not the test, no. You guys are going to take the test after halfway through break.
Oh, okay. We should do the test together too.
Well, the test you're going to be doing individually, but if you do this with us and pay attention, then the quiz should be pretty easy.
Is that a test or a quiz?
It's always a quiz. They're the same every week. It's always a quiz.
It's a quiz.
If you want to call them all tests, they're all the same thing. Or they're all a quiz, they're all a test, I don't care. They're always a 100-point summative assessment every Friday. This week we don't have Friday, so you guys do it today, the last day I see you. All right, so we are going to use the function f on this one, and we are going to plug in -1. Number 4, what are you going to do?
Oh, you're going to plug
Number 4.
You would plug in -1 and then
To what?
to the x.
For the f function or the g function? Okay, so I'm going to write this down. 2 times something minus 1. What's the something I'm plugging in? A -1. What do I do first on that?
You would multiply 2 by -1.
And you get?
Subtract 1. You get -2.
Good. -2 minus 1. And then what's that come out to be?
That would be -3.
That is -3. So f of -1 equals -3 is how I write that answer. Okay, I could write it up here too, like that, and just write f of -1 equals -3. I could put it in there, or I could just circle -3, and I would get my points. Some people are plugging that back in and writing f of -3 when they're writing their answer, and that's technically not correct. Okay, that's finding out a new problem. Okay, so g of 2, number 1, tell me how you're going to do it.
We're going to do the same thing as last time. We're going to plug in the g with a 3, right?
Okay, the g function that has the 3 in it, we're going to plug into this.
Yep.
So 3 times something, what are we going to plug in there?
The 2, right?
We're going to plug in a 2 this time, yes, because 2 is in that parenthesis. So 3 times 2, what do you get?
That's 6.
That is 6. So our final answer is 6. You could write it like that. You could go back up here and write equals 6. Either way would be a way you could write that answer. Number 5. Number 3, what are you going to do? Number 5. You're 3.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay,
You
no-
said question 3, so I thought it was me.
Gotcha.
Sorry.
No worries. Number 5. What are you going to do?
Put in the f function.
Okay, so I can put -1 in the f function. Wait a minute, I already did that over here. What did I get?
-3.
Okay, so this one right here is -3. Isn't that easy? I already did it. Why waste my time doing it again?
Right.
That was easy. What comes next?
Put in the g function.
I got to put 2 into the g function. Wait a minute, I did that too. What did I get? I don't have to redo those problems because I already did them in 1 and 2. If those numbers were different, if I was doing f of a different number, then I'd have to go back and do the work for it. And if I didn't do that one already, I'd have to go back and do the work for it. But I already did the work for both of those. So what is -3 plus 6? What do I get?
3 plus 6
A -3 plus 6. What do I get?
would be 3.
3. That's my final answer. I can write equals 3 right there. Number 7. How do I do this one?
Plug in. Right.
Work from the inside out. Remember parentheses. You always go to the furthest inside parentheses first.
Alright, so then you start with f.
Furthest inside.
Start with g.
Okay, start with the g function. What am I going to plug into the g function?
2.
I'm going to plug in 2. Wait a minute, I already did that, didn't I?
Right. So
What did I get when I plugged in 2 to the g function?
6.
So g of 2, just like over here, g of 2 is equal to 6. I can replace that inside with 6. Then what am I going to do?
Plug in the f.
Plug into the f function. So the f function says 2 times something minus 1. What's the something I plug in there? 6. Walk me through it.
2 times 6 is
2 times 6 is
12.
12.
Minus 1 is
11. My final answer there is 11. The end. Some people are still getting those wrong, and they've been on the last 3 quizzes. Okay, let's get that taken care of. Let's start doing it right, because it's probably going to show up on more quizzes. So let's make sure we start earning all of our points for those. Those are not supposed to be hard ones. Those are supposed to be some of the easier ones. All right, number 5 says to find the slope of the line that goes through each pair of points. Show work for full credit. All right, well, I need that slope equation there. What is the slope equation? Number 10, go for it. I'm going to write it down here because this is where I have to actually write my formulas out. So I'm going to write out my slope formula there.
Just the regular slope?
Just what you were saying. What were you saying?
y2 minus y1.
y2 minus y1.
And under that, x2 minus x1.
And that's how we find m, the slope. Go ahead.
I'm having trouble like seeing over class. Can I just move to the front somewhere?
Yeah, you can move to that front corner. Okay, now that we have that formula, let's go ahead and fill this in. Up here, let's pretend that this is point 1, so we'll call this x1, y1. This will be x2, y2, and I'm going to fill those numbers into this formula. So I need to always show my work, so I have a fraction with subtraction on the top and subtraction on the bottom. Okay, y2 comes first. y2 is negative 4. y1 comes next, which is 2. x2 is first on the bottom, that's 0. x1 is negative 4. 0 minus negative 4 turns into what? Plus 4. 0 plus 4 is what it's going to turn into. I always imagine those two negative signs coming together to create that plus sign. So it just drops down, creates the plus. All right, so what do I have on the top? Negative 4 minus 2. Negative 6. On the bottom, 0 plus 4 is, am I done? No. Reduce, reduce, reduce. What number goes into both 6 and 4?
2.
The top, when you divide it by 2, you're going to get negative 3. On the bottom, when you divide by 2, you're going to get 2. Does that reduce anymore? Is there another number that goes into both 3 and 2? No. Done. Circle your answer. Number 8. Are you ready? All right, so the next one, I'll label them. x1, y1, x2, y2. What number comes first?
2.
The y2, right? What's y2? Negative 5. And then what? Then what do I have? Minus 7. Right? Okay, what's my operation there on the bottom? 2 minus 2. What do I have on the top? Negative 5 minus 7 more. Negative 12. And what's 2 minus 2? 0. What happens in this, and if you don't know, punch it in your calculator. I will get an error. Yeah, because I can't divide by 0. So what is our slope if it says error? It's undefined. That is that slope that is completely vertical line. If you're not sure, sketch the graph real quick. I have right 2 up 7 a point, right 2 down 5 is a point. If I'm not sure when I look at this and I'm not sure when I put it on my calculator, sketch it out. Remember what happens when we ski down this? You don't know what happens. It's undefined what happens because you don't remember. Or you didn't live to tell about it. One of the two, but that's scary. Don't ski down that thing. Right? All right. Number 9, go ahead. Tell me my setup for this last one. What operation do I have on the top?
5 minus 5.
5 minus 5. What operation do I have on the bottom?
Negative 2 minus 3.
Good. What number do I have on top?
0.
0. What number do I have on the bottom?
Negative 5.
What is 0 divided by negative 5? If I don't know, I can punch it in my calculator. 0. That's my answer. Cool, cool? Give me a 1 through 5. I can find slope all on my own. I got that. I rocked that section. Down to a 1. What's slope? What's math? What's school? Hopefully no one's a 1 today. Okay, good. All right, the next one says to find the domain and range, then state whether the relation is a function. 11, give me the domain there.
The domains are it's negative 1, 0, 1, 2.
Very good.
Then
13, give me the range.
it's your y.
It's your y values. Yep, so what do we have?
The
7,
7,
9, and 10. Good. I like that you fixed what you said. You were saying 7, 7, 9, 10. Then you go, oh, just 7, 9, and 10. You don't have to tell me that 7's in there how many times. There's a 7 in there. That's all I need to know. Okay. So is this a function? Explain. Is this a function? Explain. 6, go for it.
Oh, yeah. Each input is one output.
Yes, each input, instead of own, the better words to use there is exactly one output. Okay? That is the definition. You're saying, yes, it's a function because the definition of a function says each input has exactly one output. And I can look at this and say, cool, yes, because each input has exactly one output. That's the definition. I'm using the definition to explain, yes, it is a function.
What's
What's
the opposite?
that?
What if you say no?
If you said no, so it would be no if, let's say, I had, this was a negative 1, right? So if I had negative 1 and a negative 1, I would say no, because the input negative 1 goes to both 7 and 9. Does that help? So if you have an x that repeats, that means you have an input that goes to 2 different outputs. And then you just specify that. No, because this input, whatever the input is that's repeated, goes to both and tell me the 2 outputs that it goes to. Okay, that's the best way to explain a no. If it's a yes, you have to write those exact words. Each input has exactly one output. Each input goes to exactly one output. Okay, however you want to phrase that. Everyone make sure their noses are covered. Thank you. All right, next one, we are making a table of values. Okay, what do I need to do here? What's my main idea here, number 3?
Plug in the two first.
Yeah.
Okay, so we plug in negative 2, so negative 2 times negative 2 plus 3, and you get 7.
Yes, you're just plugging in these values to your x value, right? These are your x's, so you're going to plug it in for x. Negative 2 times negative 2 is 4. 4 plus 3 is 7. Very good. Okay, keep going.
And then the next one would be 5, because you plug in negative 1.
Yep.
And then the next one would be 3, and then 1, and then negative 1.
Okay, so you're plugging in all, oops, that's a 0 there we plug in. We're plugging in all of these values. Looks like you already moved ahead because you knew how to do this, which is fine. But we plugged them all in. That's my work to show. Negative 2 times 0 is 0. 0 plus 3 is 3. Plugged in 1 because 1 is your x. That's negative 2 plus 3 is 1. Plugged in 2. This is negative 4. Negative 4 plus 3 is negative 1. Go ahead.
Are you going to lose points if you don't show the work?
No. No, if you did that work in your head, that's fine. But I want you guys to see what was going on in my head when I did that. But on a quiz, if you did not show you this, it does not say up here, show work for each one or anything like that. Also, you could have filled this out because why? Looking at that function, you know that the intercept is what? What's the y-intercept? What's the y-intercept of that function? Who can tell me? I can't say 3. That doesn't give me points. 0, 3 is how I write a y-intercept. Look at my x here is 3. I could have plugged that one in just by looking at the equation. Then I also know what's my slope. Negative 2 over 1. So if I was at 0, 3, I'd be going down to the right 1. So when x is 1, I'd have to go down 2. So that becomes 1. I'm going down 2 because this is counting up by ones. So that's your run, right? Y's is your rise, run is your x's. So if you're going over to the right one, 0 to 1 is going to the right one, you got to go down 2. Here you go to the right one again, so you're going down 2 again. You go in the opposite direction too. So you could use that equation and just know what your graph would look like to come up with those points too. Okay. Number 10, it says to find the x and y intercepts and the slope. A lot of people are losing points here because they're giving me numbers for your x-intercept and a y-intercept. Your x and y-intercepts both need to be what? Points, meaning I need a parenthesis, a number, a comma, a number, a parenthesis. That's what I need for my x and my y-intercept. Now my slope, that one should be easy. What's the slope of that equation? 3/4. So almost everyone keeps getting that point unless they completely skip this problem, which it would be silly to skip that problem because that's a right there answer, right? It's in the form of y equals mx plus b. M is your slope, so m is whatever the m in the equation is. Y equals mx plus b. Okay. Number 12, what else do I see right away from that equation? What else do I know right away from that equation, number 12? Number 12, did you forget who you are? We're on number 10. What else is right there in that equation? I can see the slope right away. What else can I see?
Oh, yeah.
0, negative 6. 0, negative 6, what is that? The x-intercept or the y-intercept? The y-intercept. So 0, negative 6 shows up right away too. Both of those are right there answers. I just have to remember that my y-intercept, I can't just write negative 6. I have to write 0, negative 6 because it is a point. Okay, and a lot of people are losing points because they're not writing it as a point. Get all your points, write it as a point. Okay, the x-intercept though is the tricky one. Okay, we want a number for x. What does our y have to be? If a number shows up here, what's this number have to be? 0. If I know that y has to be 0, I can plug that in to find the other variable. So here I'm going to have 0 equals 3/4. X is the number I don't know, minus 6. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to have to just show some work to solve it. Okay? Number 2, how am I going to go about doing that? How do I get x alone? What's the first thing I do here? I'm going to add 6 to both sides. I get 6 equals 3/4 x. What do I do next? How do I get rid of that fraction? What am I going to do? Multiply both sides by 4. Good. That gets rid of that fraction. 24 equals 3x. Then what? Divide both sides by 3. What does x then get? What's x have to be then? 8. So I fill it in. 8, 0. Is that too bad? Can we handle that? I think that there's been like maybe 3 people to earn all the points on that section in each class. It's been very few. So, and that's been on 2 quizzes so far. Today you'll see it again on your quiz for time 3. So let's get this right this time. Okay. All right, 11 says to write out our formulas. Well, cool, we already finished our slope formula. Okay, number 7, can you give me the slope-intercept form? Someone's helping you out. I'll help them out again.
Y equals mx plus b?
Y equals mx plus b. That's your slope-intercept form. Okay? But a lot of people have not been earning the full points on this because what it says is state what the variable represents. Okay? we have two variables we have to identify here. We have m and the b. What's the m stand for there? Slope. What's the b give us? The y-intercept. So our y-intercept, I'm going to write it 0, comma b, because that's how I write it. So I'm going to put both of those there. That's how I'm going to earn full points for part B. Okay, a lot of people only got 1 point. And most weeks when I make the quiz, I've also put a Loom video up. And if you ever choose to use Illuminate or go on Google Classroom, I post a Loom video with how to enter answers and hints about this quiz. And I literally typed in A, B, C, and D last time and showed you the answers, and no one watched the video. I can see how many views are watching the video, and I had maybe 1 or 2 views last week on that video. And I gave you at least those 4 answers and another about 2 or 3 answers in that video. So hint, watch those videos. And in that video I said, this is how you would type your answer. Make sure to read the full instructions because you have to put this part of it to earn the full points. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge, wink, wink. Get the picture? I literally said that in that video, I'm pretty sure. So there's your right answer for that. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge, wink, wink. It'll be on this week's quiz. You'll have to write those formulas again. I told you when we took the notes, this will be on your quiz, and this is exactly what you need to do. Okay? What is point slope form? Raise your hand if you can tell me what point slope form is. Go ahead.
Y minus y1 equals m, and then substitute x minus x1.
Very good. Y minus y1 equals m times the quantity of x minus x1. I have a couple things I have to say here. I have to tell me what m is, and I have to decide what x1, y1 represents. Keep going with it.
Y1 is your current y point, and then x1 is the
Okay, x1 comma y1 make 1 point. Okay? The x and the y are in every equation. In order for an equation to be an equation, it has to have an x, has to have a y, it has to have an equal sign. Except for those horizontal and vertical lines, which are special. They're its own breed. Okay? But here, x1 comma y1 is a point. What's the m represent? Slope. Last but not least, we have standard form. Raise your hand if you can tell me what standard form is. Go for it. Very important, A, B, and C are all capitalized. Because that B, a lot of people keep writing it as a lowercase. It is not the same value as this B up here, and if you put it as a lowercase, that means that you're telling me that's usually the that's the y-intercept, but it's not. Okay? There's another key piece of information you have to tell me with this. What is it?
A, B, C must be integers.
Yes, A, B, and C must be integers. And maybe in parentheses, that means you just want to say no fractions. Because maybe you'll want to remember that. Okay, maybe that will help you remember that when you have to put something in standard form, you're not allowed to have any fractions. Okay, you move the x and y term to one side, the number on the right side. All right, it says write an equation in point slope form for a line passing through the point. Okay, look, here's the point. Here's the m. There gives you 2 pieces of information, and you have to write it in point slope form. Look over here. Point slope form looks like this, so that's what my answer is going to be. Look what I need, the key pieces of information I need to write it in point slope form. A point and a slope. Look what they gave me, a point and a slope. Number 7, go for it. Tell me what I'm going to have here. Fill us in.
So you're going to have y
Yep,
minus 8 or 2?
the y1. What's the y value?
Negative 2.
Y minus negative 2 turns into what?
Positive
Yeah, this is going to just become y plus 2.
equals 2 over 3.
Equals the 2 over 3. Good, the slope.
8.
What's the x? X is just x.
Okay. Then
Minus 8. Okay, and that side, nothing has to be simplified, so 2/3 times x minus 8. You didn't even have to write that extra step if you saw right away that that x minus -2 was going to turn into y plus 2. Don't do anything else here. Some people tried to take extra steps and start distributing the 2/3. No, 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 no. Just leave it in point slope form. That's what it asks for. Do what it says. You're done. That was a question right from your quiz last week. It's that easy. Leave it in point slope form. Okie doke. All right, let's flip this over. Convert to slope-intercept form. Well, first, let's know what a slope-intercept form looks like. Wait a minute. I just wrote it down. Let's look. Slope-intercept form. It's y equals mx plus b. So I want this to look like y equals mx plus b. I'm just going to write it up there so I have a little note. What do I want my answer to look like? So let's get y alone. In order to do that, subtract the other term. 3y equals, those are not like terms, so I have to write them separately. -2x plus 9. I have to get y alone, but y right now is doing what? What's happening with y right now? It's being multiplied by 3. How do you undo multiplication? Division. So when we divide this term by 3, we have to divide every term by 3. And when I get this, I get y equals -2/3 x plus 3. 9 divided by 3 is 3. A lot of people had the right steps there, but when they divided by 3, they did not divide everything by 3. They just picked 2 terms to divide by 3. You can't do that. That's unfair. People will get left behind. Terms will get left behind. They'll be crying. They'll be throwing a tantrum. We don't want to deal with it. So treat them all the same. All right, number 14 says write the equation of a line going through those 2 points in slope-intercept form. Okay, in order to write it in slope-intercept form, we need a slope and we need a y-intercept. We're not given either of those. That means we have to find them. Find the slope first using our formula. So 5 minus -10 over 4 minus -1. That turns into 15 over 5, which is 3. Your slope is 3. That's your first step. Your next step is you cannot write it in slope-intercept form because we don't have an intercept. But you do have slope and you have a point. So what form can we write it in? If we have a slope and a point, what? Point slope form, yeah. So it doesn't matter. I usually will pick the one with positives. I don't know why, I just do. So I'm going to write this. Y minus 5 equals 3 times x minus 4. I use the 5 with the y, I use the 4 with the x. Now what I can do is I have the equation, so now I can change it to make it look like y equals mx plus b. The first thing I'm going to do is distribute the 3. Then I'm going to have to add 5 to both sides. And I will have y equals 3x minus 7. And my answer's done. I wrote it in slope-intercept form. I just had to write it in point slope form and take a couple steps to get there. A lot of people just automatically said, well, I don't know my y-intercept, but it's okay, I'll just put 5 or -10 there because that's a y. It's not just any y, it has to be your y-intercept. So you have to write it in point slope form and then convert it. 15 and 16 are very similar to what we just did. Okay, except for it says it has to be parallel to that line. What does the slope have to be? Parallel slopes have to be what? They have to be the same. So what's your slope here? -2 over 3, so that's our new slope. What point does it say it has to go through? 6, 1. What form can I write this in if I have a point and a slope? Point slope form. Y minus 1 equals -2/3 times x minus 6. I wrote it in point slope form. Is it asking for point slope form? No, it's asking for slope intercept form. So the same that I did last time, I'm going to have to do this time. Start by distributing that slope. Y minus 1 equals negative 2/3 x. Oh no, I have a negative times a negative. That's a positive. 2 times 6 is 12, right? This is over 1. So 12 over 3. What's 12 over 3? 4. Is that in y equals mx plus b form yet? What do I got to do? Add 1 on both sides. Y equals negative 2/3 x plus 5. Now I'm done. Number 16, perpendicular. How do I find the new slope if the original was negative 2/3? What's my new slope have to be? No, not the same. That would be if it was parallel. Perpendicular. How do we find that perpendicular slope? It has to be opposite, and what else? And flip, the opposite reciprocal. So if this was a negative, our new slope has to be positive. Positive 3 over 2. We have to also flip it. What point does it tell you it has to go through? 6, 1. I have a slope and a point. What form do I write it in? Point slope. Very good. Y minus 1 equals your m, which is 3 halves, times x minus x1 is 6. Can I leave my answer like that?
No.
What form is it looking for? Slope intercept. Y equals mx plus b is how I need this to be written. Okay, distribute that 3 halves. All right, that's 6 over 1 again. 3 times 6 is what? 18. So I'm going to have 18 on the top. 2 times 1 is 2 is going to be on the bottom. What's 18 over 2? 9. So that's a positive and a negative, so minus 9. All right, is y alone? Do I have y equals mx plus b? No, what do I have to do? Add 1 to both sides. I get y equals 3 halves x minus 8. Now I'm done. All right, graphing. Graph the equation. The easiest way to do this one is to find both intercepts. If I plug a 0 in for x, this part goes away. 4 times what y value equals 8? 4 times what y value would equal 8? So y has to be 2 if x was 0. All right, cover up this one. If I plug in 0 for y, cover up the y part. X would have to be what? X equals what? 8. It says x equals 8. There's nothing to even solve for x there. X has to be 8. Okay, let's plot those 2 points. Remember, that first point is how far left or right you go. So don't move left or right at all. Go to 2. 8, 0. That's how far left or right you go. Go to the 8. Don't go up or down at all. There you go. I have to fill in the rest of my points, though. I'm going down 2, right 8. That's the same thing as going down 1, right 4. And then once I have as many points that will fit, I'm going to use a straight edge. And I'm going to connect all those points. I'm going to use a straight edge because I want to make sure it goes through all those points. If it goes through some of them but not all of them, that means not all of my points are right. And I need to go back and fix them. Okay. All right, graphing the equation y equals 2/3 x plus 3. What point should I start with? What? The 3 is not a point. What's the point? 0, 3. So I don't move left or right at all, but I go up 3. There's my point. Then how do I move from there? What's my slope tell me I need to do? The 2/3 slope. Up to right 3. So double check that your scale are just ones. Up to right 3. I'm going to keep doing that until I run out of graph. And then I'm going to go the opposite direction. Also until I run out of graph, because I need as many points I can fit on there. Then I'm going to connect them all, make sure that they all connect with a straight edge, so I make sure that I actually plotted all my points accurately. And voila, I have my graphs. All right, number 19. Determine whether y varies directly with x. If so, find the constant of variation and write the equation. K is y over x. So I'm going to find my new column here. For this first one, y over x is 2 over 1. That's 2. Y over x is negative 2 over 3. Wait a minute. I can stop there because k is not constant. Is this a direct variation? No. Do I have a k value? No. Can I write the equation? No. That's fine. NA is completely fine. Get y by itself. Divide by 3 on both sides. Y equals 7 over 3x. Is this in the form of y equals kx? Yes. I have to get y alone to make sure it is, but y equals kx. Cool. Yes, it is. What's your k value? What's in the k spot? 7 over 3. What's your equation? Y equals 7/3 x. Done. All right. For each direct variation, find the constant of variation. Write the equation. Then find the value of y when x is 4. How do you find k? How did we find k over here? Y over x. What's y over x? 15 over 5. What's 15 over 5? 3 over 1. So just 3, right? K is 3. What's your equation if k is 3?
Y equals 3x. Right?
Yeah. Y equals kx. Okay. If x is negative 4, find y. Cool, I have my equation. X is negative 4. What does y have to be? Negative 12. I fill it in. So far, so good? Do the same thing again. K is y over x. Let's fill it in. Y is 7, x is 2. Can 7 over 2 reduce? Nope. So K is 7 over 2. What's your equation? Yep, y equals 7 over 2x. Y equals kx. All right, x is negative 4. Let's plug it in. Y equals 7 over 2 times negative 4. 7 times negative 4 is what? Negative 28 over 2. Negative 14. Good. We're done.
Makes sense.
Take a quick 3-minute break.